So you are trying to manage inventory if you're selling or clothing you're selling on online databases, right? How about you
Correct.
explain?
Correct. So I am an at-home reseller of different product, mostly
Mhm.
clothing and shoes. And I currently keep a spreadsheet of those items, but I think it can be managed a lot better
Mhm.
than what I've done.
Nice. And specifically, actually let's share the sheet so people can see what we're
Okay.
talking about, right? Okay, so you have dresses and skirts, you have a place where you've purchased it, you have a price you've purchased it on, and then you list it on a number of different marketplaces. And then at some point these items are sold. And so you're looking to try to make this instead of just a spreadsheet of where you're sort of like, I don't want to say scratching, like if we did this on a sheet of paper, right, we would do this. We would have just keep adding information, right?
Correct.
But with a spreadsheet that's online, what we can do is sort of automate some things where once we're done with a row or it's got to a place where we're like, hey, we have this data, we want to save it, but we don't want to necessarily keep it in our management system. We can actually move these rows to another tab, like as opposed to writing it out.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but a couple of things to clean up the sheet that you had mentioned you wanted was purchase place and categories. You wanted to add a drop down. So that's something we can do pretty quickly here in the beginning. And then I think we're going to add a couple of automations. And I want to surprise you by something that we're going to do. It's going to be super simple, but it's going to be in your sheet when we're done. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so where do you want the categories?
Um, so I think it would be really good if like uh would just be like items or description or type
Yeah,
of items.
so type of items,
So,
but these are the
right.
items. So you should have another category, another column for category. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. It should probably be another one because I want to list the actual brand name of the item that I'm listing.
Brand name, not the cat. I thought you meant like jeans or shirt
Right.
as well.
Right. Yes. I want that. No. So where it says dresses, skirts, like column A, then I can list that can either be category or A or B interchangeably, but category a column for category and then a column to list the name of the item, the brand name.
And you have a list of brands here.
Uh-huh. That's what's in column A.
Column A is the item.
Yeah, but that it's the
Like it's a
brand name of the item.
I
Like
meant
Mag.
like you want to separate these like here. So we'll just create a new sheet called categories and you have dresses, skirts. What other
Okay.
things do you have? You said jeans.
Jeans.
And we only need a one column here. So sometimes I like to do this where it's just one column for the sheet so it's easy
Okay.
to see that this is a list.
Okay.
Um, and we'll right click drop down menu. And we're just gonna do drop down from our range.
Oh,
And the range is going to be this categories A through A. So we don't have to label this anything. Um,
okay.
and anytime we add to this, so if we say shirt, actually can we add shirt there. And
Okay.
now shirt is available here. So this is a
Oh,
dress.
wow. Okay.
And now we have this drop down menu that you can add a category to. The brand is
Wow.
exactly the same. Uh, so again, we just need one category. Sorry, one column. But if so, this would be Maggie London.
Mm-hmm.
You can add to this anytime as well. Again, same
Okay.
thing, drop down menu, drop down from a range. And you don't have to set this up anymore. This drop down from a range is just going to be automatically updated once you add
Once
to
I
it.
add something. Okay. Wow.
So
I didn't realize it was that easy.
yeah. I know. So sometimes it's just a couple of clicks away. So now we have your item. So this is the item, category, brand, and you have purchase place as well. So what's half of half? Is that actually the name of a place?
Yes,
Okay, cool. So we'll call this place, but you might want to rename this like purchase place. It's okay. So
right.
here again, drop down menu from arrange, place, exclamation mark, A colon A. This should be D2 colon D. There you go. And all of these.
Now, why was that A colon A, um,
Mhm.
and not set up like the other columns?
They are. So we can,
Okay.
this is A colon A as well. The whole A
Oh,
column.
okay. Okay. Got it.
This is the A column of categories. So now you have all of these separate lists, right? You can add this. We can also just take it down to one item per thing. Right, there's just multiple there. That should be all of the places.
Mm-hmm.
And there. And now that we have no error, there was a little red arrow here. You'll
Okay.
notice that, and you can also set this up if you want. Let's edit this. Advanced options. You can say either show a warning or reject the input. So if you type in something here,
Mm-hmm.
that's not on the list, not on the list, it's gonna
Okay.
tell you that it violates and you can't put it in.
Oh,
This is a reminder that you have to put, if you have a new purchase place, you go here, not on list, and now for all time, it's available here.
got it. I understand that.
So I like it. It's actually there's no like. It's totally dependent on your situation. Sometimes you do want to show a warning if you're like, hey, here's some suggested things, but we'll always take anything that uh anyone else types in here. That can cause a
Mm-hmm.
lot of confusion, but also
Mm-hmm.
just to know if you're not the one using this, if you use this and set it up, you'll remember how to use it.
Right.
And if you don't remember, you can always click on this edit button. But if you share it with someone who doesn't have edit access, they may get a little confused. We can also change the look of this. Sometimes this pill is is good for some people,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, oh, nice. Oh, here we have
So
more.
how hard is it to, so like this whole workbook that I have, to then make a sheet for each place like that connects to this sheet? Like this is my main sheet, but I would make another um sheet that would be labeled half of half.
Yeah, and what do you want to show there?
Well, everything that I put in on the main sheet, I wanted to then be populated on that separate sheet.
Yeah, populated is hard because if you have the same item that's editable in two different places, you're going to have a
Hmm.
lot of problems with data management. So again,
Okay.
inventory management, or if I haven't said this before, this is like basic inventory management where you have some physical objects. You are keeping digital track of these physical objects, and everything that we have to do uh, to enter data is like manual process, right?
Okay, right.
And so if you have this information and you're putting it in one place, um, that's like one thing you do. But then if you have to put it in multiple places or update it in multiple places, it becomes quite cumbersome digitally when really what we're trying to do is make it super easy digitally versus physical, right?
Got it.
We could write a piece of paper, write down on a piece of paper, and then we have this like what's called a source of truth and
Hmm.
say, okay, we have a piece of paper and we'll always, this is the number one source of truth. And our sheet, we want to be our source of truth. So if we have two tabs here that have the same data, but we edit one or edit the other, it becomes twice as hard. And actually it becomes a little bit more like 3 or 4 times as hard because now we don't necessarily know what our source of truth is. But
Okay.
here's an interesting thing we can do. That if it's okay that it's not editable and you just want to view it, like this half of half, you want to have a half of half sheet. So we'll call
Yeah,
this
I don't necessarily want that sheet to be
right.
editable.
So what we
I
can
want
do,
it to only do it on the main sheet and then it populates on that sheet.
right. So what we can do is add all of the same categories here. And in this A2 column, we go filter and we go back to our main sheet and we're going to filter just everything by the purchase place and is equal to, in this case, we can just write it half of half. But I'm going to show you also another way to do this. So now we have all the half of half stuff.
Got it. Yes. See, that's what I was. So let me tell
Perfect.
you why I was interested in doing it like that, because sometimes I sell things for other people,
Mhm.
basically like a consignment.
Right. And so, sorry, yeah, of course. So you want to see, so how does this help with consignment? Oh, if this is
Well,
a person?
yes.
Ah,
So just so that I then look at that sheet and automatically view that, oh, this is what I've sold of theirs, and this is the total that I've sold of theirs. Just like with half of half, this is how much I did with half of half, and so on.
right. So
Does that make sense?
it makes sense to, so this is a view. But what I want to do here is show you how to quote unquote automate this sort of in a little bit better than having to type this all out. Instead of
Okay.
having this text here, we can just assign this text to this drop down menu. So now that we have drop down menus, makes it super easy to interact with instead of having to type out things. And
Right.
now this half of half, if we want to change it to, let's duplicate it and make it uh, garage sale. And
Mm-hmm.
now all we have
Right.
to do is change this to garage sale. And now we have all of our garage sale views.
Oh, right. Right. Exactly.
So
That's
now as
exactly
many
what I.
things as you have, if you ever want to add another purchase place and then another view, you saw how easy it is. Just duplicate this
Mm-hmm.
and then select them from this list, which this list is only editable in
From the main
place.
sheet. Okay. Right. And
Um,
that's okay. That's exactly what I wanted.
actually, let me delete all these columns. So yeah, we have a single column. Um, and the same can be said if you, and then the same can be said if you want to do this kind of view with brands or categories, exactly the same. So instead of this drop down menu, we can say dresses and use this category, use the category. And instead of D equals D1, we can say B to B
Equals
equals
B1.
B1. And now
Wow.
we have
Yeah.
all of our dresses.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
These tabs and these views can, I can just tell you now, can get a little bit not overbearing,
Confusing.
cumbersome. It can be a lot of stuff, but I think this kind of thing can help you like view certain things. Also, you don't necessarily, now that we have this drop down, you don't necessarily have to have a tab for each and every one. If you're like, hey, I do
Right.
want to look at the purchase place, but I don't want to have to just go find the tab. I want to find the tab that I search by, and I can always just click through here.
So I think you're exactly right. So in thinking about what you're saying, the only time, because you're right, because I purchase from a lot of different places, the
Mhm.
only time I think I would want a separate tab in terms of purchase place would be for my consignment people.
Right, but that the best thing about this is that it's your choice now. Instead of having to have
Right.
only um one tab for each thing, and you're like, okay, I have all these tabs. Now it's your choice. You can have one tab for one view that you know, oh, I want to click on a tab for that. Or hey, I want to click through all of these purchase places. Oh, I don't
Oh, I see
need
what you're
garage
saying.
sale
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
detail.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Um, Same with brand. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do something here which might help you do something you mentioned before. You said, I want to know, what did I sell of half and half? What did I sell of this consignment?
Right.
But it might change this view a little bit. But let's see if we can do this. I wanted to clean this up because half of the problem of inventory management is that let's say we actually are a store, like you are selling, in fact, you are a store, right? You are buying inventory and then selling that
Basically.
inventory. And this tab is just going to end up being a sort of a list of all of your transactions forever. And so we know Google Sheets doesn't have an infinite amount of space. And in fact,
Right.
our brain doesn't have an infinite amount of space. So when, let's say you've bought 50 items, sold 40, you bought another 50 items, sold 40 of those, bought another 50 items, sold 40 of those. Now we're at line 153, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the things that we've sold are not in inventory. Those are sold. Those are out of our inventory, right?
Right. They're gone.
So what I would suggest and what we can do here is I would have a sold tab. And in
Oh, yes.
and in this case, I'm going to take literally everything here and just delete it. And in fact, I want to, oh my God, I think it's slowing down. And then also what I want to do is take it to only one row. Okay, so now this sold tab is going to be filled as we sell things.
Oh, perfect.
And we should be able to take it off of our inventory,
Main.
especially now that you have this t-shirts is actually, sorry, we haven't added it. Look, it helped me keep it there. Where's categories? So this now is t-shirts, and we can delete this. This becomes a lot easier to manage, that you can
Mm-hmm.
have all types of stuff here anywhere you want, and you have the category.
Right.
Um, is that when you sold? Yeah, so this is perfect. So this is a sold thing. So what data do you enter when it's sold?
Okay, so when it's sold, I when I list it, I actually
Mhm,
list it on all of the platforms that I do
mhm,
list it on. However, when I sell it, what I do is I go and erase. Well, no, do I keep it there? I can't remember now, but I do. I input the sold date, I input the sold price, and I input the fees.
mhm.
And so I have formulas for the profit
Right.
uh, based on, obviously what I purchased it at and the fees.
Mhm,
So that's the only thing that's kind of automated is the profit margin.
mhm.
But basically that's what I input when I purchase, I'm sorry, sold something.
So all three of these. And do you always do it in a certain order? What I'm getting at is we need to have, in order to create an automation, we need to have a trigger. That trigger can be one of two things. It could be a time-based thing, meaning like 5 p.m. every day or Monday at 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Once a week. But it could also be something we do in the sheet. We can use actions that we take. So it could be on a value being added or changed in a cell. It could be literally editing, not editing, but adding a column or adding a sheet. It could be on the change of the entire sheet, or it could be
Mm-hmm.
on a form submit. And in this case, we're entering some values here, right?
Right.
So because I don't necessarily know which of these items you're going to put into in which order, and I don't think it would be very useful, or I don't think it would be a very nice user experience if you have to put these in a certain order.
Mm-hmm.
If you had said the first thing is like, I always put the sold date and then the sold price, then the fees, if that was like the finite only thing, then I would say it's different. But in this case, I would say add a sold column and have a
Okay.
checkbox.
Oh, okay.
And this is just an idea that um can always change. Oh, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
let me get this out of the way. It can always change, and you can always say later, hey, actually, yeah, I always enter my profit. Like I want to put in my profit or a profit or whatever. Oh, we want to add it. I remember you wanted to add profit margin as well. This can change later, but for today and for now,
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that this checkbox is going to give you that final, like, okay, I got all my stuff in. This is sold.
Yes, yes, I agree. Because
Um,
that's where the confusing part for me
right.
was sometimes, even though I have a column that says sold date and sold price, uh, I think you're right. Having that separate sold column kind of triggers that.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna delete all this extra columns so that we only have these for now. Margin. Oh, let's do the margin before we forget. So profit, this was, you wanted a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's is it, what is your margin? Is it
Well, it's going to be obviously the
profit?
purchase price and profit.
Is it the profit minus the purchase price divided by the profit?
Hold on. The profit minus the purchase. Yes.
Because this was purchased at $5 and you made now
And the
15.90
profit after the fees. So do you think I should do sold price though? But no, I wanted profit margin.
off of the margin of what? The sold price? So then it would be sold price M2 minus O2 divided by M2. So is that $15 profit margin on a $28 sale is a 43% margin?
Yes, that sounds, hold on,
Yeah.
28, 15, not 30, 15, that would be 50. Yeah, that's right, right?
Right. Um,
Because it's, again, minus the fees.
what we can do here is we can copy it to everything and we can say if M2, so if is blank, sorry, is blank M2, and now we
Hmm.
only put that in if it's blank. So that'll be automatic once you enter here. You sold it, purchased this for 250 and let's sell it for $8. And now, oh, also need the we need two things, the sold price and the profit. Is blank, is blank. Oh, and now, oops. I think this math is wrong. Sorry. Maybe not. I think it's
Wouldn't have,
fine.
is it? Okay.
Also, you can always edit this later. If it turns out, if people are watching this and, oh, your profit margin is wrong, we can always edit this later. But I added this
Okay.
or and two is blanks, meaning the M and the O column have to be filled out, and then you'll see this
M and O. Okay.
margin. Same can be done
Got
for
it.
profit. So you have a formula here already. If
Right.
um,
And the profit there is based on my, my purchase price and my sold price minus the fees.
yeah, and we need to have all of these things, right? Uh, so we just put in or um, into and then F2.
F2, right.
And now we can copy paste everything and it should only show the profit automatically. So now you don't have to touch this for every column that it has those three things. As long as it has 258, now your fee is $2. Now automatically profit and margin will show up.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we're just using, in this case, we're just using if is blank. And we're adding a little bit more with this or, making sure that all
Mhm.
three of these are filled out.
Okay.
And now for the actual automation that's app script, fun stuff, we want to change, not change, sorry. We want to move a row to the sold once we click this Q column. So if I click this checkbox, I want this
Hmm.
whole column row to move.
Oh, the row, yes.
So let's do this. We'll move row. Actually, what it's going to be is an on edit, and we'll just do it from scratch. On edit, we need to know, we want to only do the automation when the Q column is checked off. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to know the sheet. So variable sheet equals e dot. I think I always forget how to get the sheet name, but we can get the row. Variable row equals e dot range dot get row. Variable column or COL equals e dot range dot get column. If column is equal to whatever number Q is, 17. I
Yeah.
always forget this. 17. Now we'll do something. So in this case, we're creating an automation that every time there's an edit, we will, the on edit just fires, that function fires this on edit function every single time there's an edit, meaning a
Okay.
cell's value changes. And
Mm-hmm.
if that cell that's changed is in the column 17, we're going to do something. So let's do this. We'll just log the row just to see if this is working.
Okay.
So if I click this a couple times and then go over to executions, we should see it in the log here. Should. Might take a moment to get there. This because is a little
Okay.
bit slow. Click it a couple more times. See if they'll show up. There it is. See, they're
Oh,
showing up,
there
so
it
their
is.
on edits
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
Let's make sure. Again, the log takes a moment or two to get there.
Okay.
There we go. So this is the log 6. And we can give us more information if we want. If we can't read that log very well, we can say
Mm-hmm.
row colon plus, and now it will get a row column. So we're in the right place, but now we need a sheet. So we can always ask ChatGPT this kind of thing, like using function, using on edit in sheets, how to get the sheet name of E. And this is sometimes fun, and sometimes it works brilliantly. Sometimes it works
Right.
nothing. You can also Google for this. This is pretty well documented on,
Common. Okay.
yeah, there we go.
Oh, wow. It gives you the actual script.
Yeah. And we just need this part out of it. And so we want to make sure that the sheet that we're working on is not, if we edit the Q column on any other sheet, we don't care. We only care about the inventory one.
Right.
So we add an and by doing double ampersand, sheet
Mm-hmm.
name equals inventory. Oh, we need two equal signs because equals is assigning and 2 equals is meaning is equal. So again, we can do log here, sheet name. Save this.
2 equal signs is what again?
So 1 equal sign assigns data like variable. This row
Okay.
is it's sort of, you can say is
Mm-hmm.
this word row is range.getRow. 2 equal signs is equal to. So
Okay.
it's asking, are these two things the same? And this column is equal to 17 too. It's just a true or false statement.
Okay.
If it's false, this if is going to be false, so it won't run anything inside of here. If
Okay.
column is equal to 17, true. Sheet name is equal to inventory, true. So if is true, so it will run.
Got
Let's
it.
double check this. I like to always try to double check these things
Okay.
just in case something goes wrong before we start moving stuff around.
Right.
One more. One of them is stuck. Oh, but here we go. Inventory. Perfect. So we got row 8, so it's getting the
The data that
column.
you, oh, got it. Yeah.
Let's uncheck these, by the way, just so we have more to check. But now let's move it. So there is no move function in AppScript.
Okay.
What we're actually going to have to do is 2 things. We're going to have to copy the row to sold, and then delete the row from inventory.
Inventory.
So
Got it.
that those two things combined means we'll move it.
Yes.
So how do we copy it? We say, what is that? That's going to be, let's get the sheet inventory. And how we get the whole sheet is we do spreadsheet app dot get active spreadsheet, get sheet by name, inventory. Then we want sold. And we do exactly the same. We just call it, I spelled inventory wrong. Sold. So now we have access to these two tabs, inventory and
Okay.
sold. We need to find whatever the range is. We know what row we're on, so we can say variable row to move is equal to inventory dot get range. The row is this row here. We'll start at column 1. Number of rows is only going to be 1. And then the number of columns, now this is going to be however many columns we have. We might not want to have to edit this if we add any more columns or delete any more columns. We might not want to have to come in here and edit this. So we'll say max columns, and that's a
Okay.
variable get here. Variable max columns
Mm-hmm.
is equal to inventory dot get maximum columns. So this is just counting how many columns are on the sheet.
Right.
And this is our row to move. So we'll go row to move dot copy to. And where are we copying them to is sold dot get range. And here we have to be very
Right.
careful because we want to do two things. We want to insert a row after 1, actually before 2. I know that those sound the same, after 1 or before 2 row,
Right.
but
But that's
it's going to give us the formatting of the second row. We'll insert
okay.
one right above it. If we inserted one after 1, it'll give us the formatting of row 1.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And
So
now
now do
we
I have to go in and once you've done this, that sets the tone for all of the souls, right?
now we need to get the range of where we're going to go to, which is we always know we're going to insert a row before the second one. So the number 2 row is going to be where we enter the data. Column 1, number of rows is 1. Number of columns is still max columns,
Right.
because these two sheets should have the same number of columns, and we should
Right.
always keep that the same.
Right.
All right, let's test this out. So save it.
So even if I added another column for whatever reason, like another platform I wanted to be on, then I wouldn't have to change that number on the soul page because you put max columns. Okay.
So we have it. It's done. Oh,
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yay.
so now we have, but now the thing
Wow.
is we have to delete the stuff, right? So we have 2 solds. They're already there. And if
So then I
everything
do
looks
have
good,
to manually delete them from the inventory sheet.
right? But we want to do that automatically. So let's do that now.
Right.
To delete the row, we know where it is, right? It's this just row column here. There's 2 ways we can delete it. One is we delete the row, but we can also delete the contents of the row, which I would there's pros and cons to both, and it's totally up to your own how you want to run it. For now, I'm not going to delete the row. I'm just going to delete the contents of the row.
Okay.
We want to do inventory dot get range. The range is going to be the row. Actually, same. This row to move going to be exactly the same as that. Dot clear content. And again, this is just clearing the content. It's not deleting the row. It's not deleting the form. It shouldn't delete the format either.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something if we deleted everything in the row,
Mm-hmm.
then it would delete the format as well.
Oh, I see what
one
you're saying. It wouldn't repeat.
one actually, let's do this. Something weird's gonna happen. Even if I uncheck it, it's gonna move it. We'll fix that in a hot second.
Okay.
Let me delete. So now our automation is, and let me make a note. Do not move if unchecked. Okay. I have to add that in later.
Okay.
But let's test this. So we have nothing on the sold now. We're gonna go to the very, is there something here? I think I deleted one of your, I hope this is not your, is this actually your data?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to delete it. This is also scary when I'm deleting things. Why do we have all of these? That's what's strange. Oh, it's probably because we have extra columns here. Okay, let's just keep it there. Maggie Maxi dress, click sold.
Right.
And now we're just clearing the contents and it should show up here at the top. Perfect.
Okay.
This actually I need to do. So we can get the new value and we only want to move it if we're checking it. If we uncheck it, we don't want to move it.
Mm.
I think it's just e dot
So,
value.
so that would be good, for instance, if let's say someone returned something, right? Then, like you
Oh,
said, that row is totally not gone.
right. This, so we move it over, but in our log, I'm just logging this to make sure that this check value is what we can, perfect, true. So that's what we use here to make sure that the value is true. If you uncheck it, I don't want it to move. So check and check is equal to true. Okay, so now if you ever have something where you're like, hey, I want to, this is not supposed to be sold. Let's move it back over here. Yeah, so now nothing's moving. If
Okay.
this happened to be checked here, you can uncheck it and it won't move. Sorry, and I want to put it back to what you had before. Or is this fine to have it on the?
Yeah, that's fine.
I would also recommend later on I don't know. This is always weird, and I would just test it out as you use it. If you
Hmm.
don't like that, there's just like a bunch of empty stuff you can do.
That was my next question.
You can absolutely delete the row. Instead of clear content, it would be. I'll actually write it here for you. It would be inventory dot get range.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, it would be delete row and row. It would just be that.
Okay.
So this is if you want to delete row instead of clearing. And I'll leave that as a note for you. So this is
Okay.
just comments if you add two slashes between before the text. There. Wow. So there you go. Real
Wow.
automation in your sheet.
No kidding. That is exciting.
Some other things you can do if you have more time and you want to like look at some analytics of this, especially because you were talking about before, and this is I'm just discussing this now,
Hmm.
because it sort of takes a little bit more design and a little more ideas, is now that you have a sold sheet, you can create statistics on that sold stuff. So you can create a little dashboard and say, hey, what's the highest priced item I've ever sold? Just find the max of
Oh,
sold
yes.
price. You can say each category, what is the average profit margin? What is the average sale price? You can say, I
So I
would
could really do all my data management from the soul sheet.
not data management, but data analysis.
Data analysis. Thank you. That's what
Yeah.
I meant.
But you can also do what I
Wow.
would also look at, and this might be two steps forward instead of just one, is look at,
Uh-huh.
try to do your analysis of your sold. Say, okay, here's the interesting things I care about: profit margin,
Hmm.
highest revenue, these kinds of things, averages. But also maybe look at uh, the difference between your inventory and sold. So let's say um, you have an average sold price of a dress.
Hmm.
Look at the average price of your inventory of dresses and put those next to each other.
Oh, right.
So now you can see, oh, are the items that are currently in stock in inventory higher priced than the sold ones? So, okay, I
Hmm.
need to drop some prices. Or are the sold ones the highest selling? Like you might want to look at the differences there.
Right. That makes sense.
And you have a
Wow,
little bit
this,
of data cleanup here to do.
yeah,
Because you have these category names here, you can you move them over to the category name. I think this is, sorry, shirts, sweaters, jackets. Oops. There you go. Just got to fill in all of these.
okay.
Um, purchase place. It looks like I didn't get all of the purchase places, so
Mm-hmm.
just have to add them to this page, and that red dot will go away.
Oh, got it.
Um, China. That's a big place. Here's Tuesday Morning and Dollar Tree, Goodwill as well. And so, yeah, just a little bit of data cleanup is going to go a long way here to making sure that you have the right thing. I would also look at this, perhaps, so how you're doing it now is you are leaving the listed price on the marketplace that it sold.
Right.
So I might add just this is just my own bias here. You can do
Uh-huh.
this differently. I would add a drop down here of the sold place.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I I like to uh leave that up there because sometimes I may list it in all the places, but
Right.
I like to know where it was sold, but I want to leave the prices up there because it lets me know later on that, even though I may have listed it for the same price on all the platforms, it actually sold on that platform.
I don't know all the places, but that's just doing
Poshmark, Macari.
drop down from a range. We have to do just because it's 2 words. I think we need there you go. So now as you
Perfect.
add, you can add things to that sold place
Hmm.
here. Which it sounds like it's only gonna be 4 things here, right?
Yes, but it could be, that's something that could be added to as other opportunities come up.
Is it Facebook Macari or just Macari?
No, just Macari
Oh,
in Facebook Marketplace.
so now you have the sold place. So again, a little bit of data cleanup. You're gonna have to go in and say, okay,
Yeah,
this is Posh Market. Same here. But a little data cleanup is going to go a long way to getting you the data you want to know, what sold, where it sold, what items do I still have in my inventory, so you don't have to have
right,
all of these sold dates here messing up. You can have all your sold stuff here.
right.
Cleans up your list a lot.
Oh my gosh. It
Does that
this
help?
really, really, really helps. This is awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
You've like saved me so much time.
that's
Uh,
awesome. But also
yeah,
we get way more out of it, right? You're available to see the analysis. You can do analysis. You can see um, saving time, right? Copying stuff over, moving things, but also
right,
just the like clutter of our brain, right? Like a
right,
cluttered spreadsheet is a cluttered brain.
right. Well, and it gives me more time to, since I'm the only one doing it.
Hmm.
And that's what happens with a lot of other resellers is they're doing everything, they're
Hmm.
shopping, they're, posting. And when it comes to like the spreadsheet or keeping up with their inventory,
Hmm.
that takes a lot of time. And so they just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, how do they deal with it? They just do something like this where they just start
Some people just don't
taking off.
even keep up. They rely on the platforms to
Mm,
hopefully do that for them.
that's so
But
interesting.